For 10,000 years, we've all been told the same story. The God Emperor of mankind sits on the golden throne, a silent, skeletal guardian for all of humanity. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the greatest truth, the most dangerous secret in the entire galaxy, is hidden right under our noses, at the very heart of the Imperium? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on that secret.
And this whole thing, it comes from a final confession, a last testament from one of the few beings who could ever get close enough to see the truth, Shield Captain Atheon, one of the Emperor's own custodies. His entire life was a vow to protect secrets, but he found one so big, it threatened to break everything. So, our story begins with a crack. Not a physical one in the throne itself, but a crack in the absolute unwavering faith of the man sworn to guard it. Atheon, a golden sentinel who had stood his watch for literal millennia. Okay, and you gotta understand who we're talking about here. The Custodes, they aren't just big space marines. No way. They're on a completely different level. They were made to be the Emperor's personal companions, his confidants. Perfect warriors, yeah, but also philosophers. Their loyalty isn't just programmed, it's absolute. Or, at least, that's what everyone believed.
So, picture this. Alathion is leading the midnight inspection of the Sanctum Imperialis. This is a ritual that has not changed, not one bit, for 10,000 years. You've got the incense, the chanting, the constant, deep hum of ancient machines. It's the rhythm of the Imperium. But on this one night, something was different. Something was wrong.
Right there, on the undercarriage of the throne, he saw it. A single drop of liquid. His first thought? Probably just condensation, or maybe some leaking secret oil. But when he looked closer, he realized what it was. It was fresh, golden blood. Now, this should be completely, utterly impossible. The Emperor is a corpse, a desiccated body that hasn't bled a single drop since his fight with Horus 10 millennia ago.
This one single, impossible observation, it drove Atheon to do something unthinkable. He broke every protocol, abandoned his post, and later, he came back to the throne room completely alone to figure out what was going on. By the time he got back, the drop of blood was gone, wiped clean. But the throne itself, it felt wrong. That constant steady hum was off. It was irregular, almost like a struggling heartbeat. And when he put his gauntlet on the golden surface, he felt this unnatural heat, and then, impossibly, a pulse. A living, rhythmic pulse, coming from a machine that's supposed to be sustaining a dead man.
He had to know. So he followed this pulse, this energy, deep, deep down into the sealed sublevels of the Imperial Palace. We're talking passages that haven't seen light since the Imperium was born. He started seeing these ancient heretical symbols carved into the walls, and they were weeping the exact same golden fluid. His path finally ended at level 66, in front of this door made of a bizarre black metal that just seemed to swallow the light around it. A door that hadn't been opened in ages. And then the door just opens for him. It recognizes his custodian DNA. What he found inside wasn't just a secret. It was a truth so profound, it was about to redefine the entire Imperium.
Atheon steps into this chamber that just shouldn't exist. It defied physical space. And right there in the center was a massive black sarcophagus. And from inside it, a voice. A voice he had only ever heard in ancient, crackling recordings. It spoke his name. The Emperor was alive. But the being that emerged from that sarcophagus, it was a thing of nightmares. It was divided, literally split right down the middle. One half was him, the perfect, glowing God King you see on all the propaganda posters. The other half, it was a writhing horror. Shifting flesh, bone showing through, and an eye that was just a window into pure madness. Half god, half monster. And the Emperor himself explained it. This horrifying form was a necessity. He said that to truly fight the gods of chaos, to understand them and defeat them, he had to take a part of their nature into himself. A terrible but necessary self-inflicted corruption. And here it is, the core secret. The corpse on the golden throne, it's not a corpse, it's a shell, a psychic focus point for all of humanity's faith, a giant antenna that powers the Astromachan. But the real Emperor, the consciousness, the being itself, is this divided creature, hidden away, existing somewhere between our world
and the warp.
Atheon is just overwhelmed. He stumbles back to the surface, his entire reality shattered, and for weeks he says nothing. But eventually he can't bear the weight of it, and he confesses everything to his brothers. The reaction was predictable. He was immediately arrested, stripped of his rank, and charged with the highest possible level of heresy.
The sentence was death. There was no question. But as he's waiting for his execution, he's brought before this secret tribunal of the Custodes' high command. He's expecting his final condemnation, but instead, they tell him 5 words that change everything all over again. You are not the first. He was the 10th. For 10,000 years, about once every millennium, another high-ranking custodian had been drawn down to that same hidden chamber. 9 others had seen what he had seen. 9 others had walked that same path. And each of those 9 had to make a choice. Some of them just went back to their duties, carrying this impossible secret in silence until they died. A few chose exile or even took their own lives. But the ones who, like Atheon, chose to speak the truth, they weren't executed. They were given a new purpose. Turns out, his execution was a sham. Atheon was given a new title, Truth-Bearer. His new mission? To travel the Imperium in total secret, planting the seeds of this truth among the most important leaders, High Lords, Chapter Masters, Inquisitors, to get them ready for what was coming. Because something is coming. The Emperor, even like this, had planned for all of it. He left behind a final contingency, a master plan that could only be accessed by the 10th Truth-Bearer, by Atheon. It turns out, this has been the Emperor's grandest deception. His death wasn't a defeat. It was a tactical retreat into the throne. And the throne isn't life support. It's a chrysalis. All those quadrillions of people praying across the galaxy, their faith isn't just blind worship. It's the literal fuel for his metamorphosis into something new. And the end goal of all this? Transcendence. The Emperor is trying to become a new kind of being, one that exists in the physical world and the warp at the same time. He wants to become the template for humanity's next great evolutionary leap, a psychic species that can finally, once and for all, defeat chaos on its own turf. But here's the final, terrifying piece of the puzzle Atheon was given: the timeline. The system is starting to fail. The transformation is speeding up. After 10,000 years of this slow, hidden process, there are only 108 years left. The chrysalis is about to open. The great change is coming. And it's coming soon. So, that leaves us with the ultimate terrifying question. The Emperor is playing a game with stakes so high they're almost unimaginable. He's becoming something that isn't really human anymore, but isn't a chaos god either. He's walking a razor's edge between savior and monster. So when that chrysalis finally cracks open, what's going to come out? Will it be humanity's salvation, or will it be the very thing that finally damns us all?